Everybody, I am Joey. I'm part of the Chart Guys team. I've been a trader and technical analyst for 7 years, over 20,000 hours. I'm here to talk about some crypto. We've got the ETF roulette continuing onwards here. We were talking about that after the ETH ETF announcement of like, okay, who's next? And now we've got VanEck filing for a Solana ETF, and Solana certainly seeing some relative strength with that. So we'll look into the charts, see how Solana's looking, see if the ratio is giving us any clues. We'll look back in on the Bitcoin oversold bounce we were positioning for last stream. We'll check in on ETH because we want to make sure that we don't just go from one shiny object to another shiny object and totally ditch the other one. So obviously Solana has got a little hype here with this announcement, but with the looming updates for the ETH ETF and the anticipated trading dates and all this and that, we want to certainly be keeping eyes on that. So let's just start off with Solana. We'll just get right into the juice out the gate. So let's turn on our charts and take a look here. Nice move off of the lows. And it's one of those things that's kind of interesting because, we're always talking that the charts are what matters and this and that. And obviously Solana's getting some juice because of the filing from VanEck. But if you remember from last stream, what were we looking for here? We're looking for a tightening range and for bulls to hold 116. Low was 122, clean. And definitely worth noting that these bottoms are both off of round numbers, 116 clean, 122 clean. But here we are bouncing back into the middle of the range. And what do we need to see for bulls to have more confidence and follow through? As usual, it is the daily trend change. Now, there's a little caveat to this. We know if we're talking a weekly bounce getting underway, we need a daily trend change, or if we're just talking momentum shift, and for it to be a little more believable, it's got to be a daily trend change. But where that daily trend change happens, if you are within a broader tightening range, kind of holds different weight on how much value do we want to put into it. Because unless more fundamental news comes out and we have increasing bull volume, which, decent bull volume here, but it's nothing crazy. And unless we get something like that, I would anticipate that we'll probably continue to tighten on up within here. So the reason I say this is if we see another leg up and then we consolidate on the daily and then we go for a daily trend change, you don't want to get caught saying, all right, bulls finally got their daily trend change, because that could very well be running right into a weekly or a 2-week lower high. So within tightening ranges, I tend to lean more on the intermediate timeframes, which would be like the 4-hour, essentially, something like that. So let's zoom in on Sol and see what we've got for a guide here. Got little textbook, probably 12-hour bull flag. Anytime you get your lower lows without follow through coming right off of a strong move, that tells you that bears really aren't all that there, and bulls ended up holding these EMAs and going up. So we'll go to the 12-hour. Yeah, I think we'll stick with the 12-hour uptrend for like the bigger picture guide of this move up rather than the daily. And as far as our shorter time frames, let's check out the hourly. I think the hourly will be decent at this point. Maybe not though. Let me find something I like. Okay, we'll stick with the 15-minute. We'll stick with the 15-minute. It's certainly a potential hourly bull flag because this consolidation was healthy, and we can say bulls maintain tight control as long as 15-minute 12 EMA is support. If we lose that, that'd be the first sign of some 4-hour consolidation. Then we've got a lot of room for a 4-hour higher low compared to 135.20. So that's what we're looking at on Solana itself, Solana USD. And what bulls like to see is if we look at Solana BTC, we've got relative strength here. Let's get rid of this line. So how this works is if your ratio chart is stronger than your USD pairing, that's bullish ratio divergence. You like to see that. And did we get a little bit of it on the bottom there? Yeah, you can see this is bullish ratio divergence. We have the double bottom on the ratio chart and the lower lows on the USD pairing. That can give you confidence that this is a good dip to buy. And, that was well before any ETF talk was out. So that kind of ties into another thing of like, people usually know what's going on. We've been talking about Solana's strength for a while, and lo and behold, now we've got some news coming out. Is it shocking? No, it's not. Is it anything that you could have had like confidence with that it was going to be the case? Also no. But we are never going to know as traders. We just need to put ourselves in good risk to reward scenarios to attempt to benefit should something work in our favor. So we'll be keeping close eyes on this BTC ratio, because if we go out here, let's go to the 2-week. It's a similar 2-week tightening range. And ultimately, this was an important support hold because it was a head and shoulders. And if that confirmed, then the win would have been coming out of Solana sales in a more notable sense. But now we've got a 2-week EQ. And if this 2-week EQ on Sol BTC breaks to the upside, then that bodes well for Sol USD. So we'll be keeping eyes on that and seeing where things go. And we can see that there's other coins getting some juice on this news. It's not like Sol is the clear lead bull. You know, when the ETH ETF news came out, I think maybe ETC outperformed it, but more or less it was the ETH show. But we got DOT up 10%, we got AVAX up 10%, and basically people are postulating like, who's next? Who's next? And that's why I call it the ETF roulette, because I would assume that this is kind of now a new kind of state for the space, and the ETF game will be a deal for a bit going onward here until all the ones that are going to get established, and then like the hype will wear off. The hype will wear off for sure. It's kind of similar to like in Canadian MJ back in the day when they were all starting to get uplisted onto the main U.S. exchanges, and it was hype, super hype in the beginning, and it's still packed a punch throughout. But once you're on to your like 4th or 5th uplisting, it's not as glorious as like the Bitcoin ETF, the ETH ETF. So we'll continue to monitor and see how this all develops, because obviously nobody knows. We're in new territory and it's exciting for the crypto space, and we'll be keeping a close eye on it here on these streams at least twice a week. So that's what we're looking at with Sol. Let's dial it back to the beginning now, check out Bitcoin, and see where we're going from here. So we know that after losing the weekly 12 EMA, most likely scenario was a weekly tightening range. We've got bulls defending 56.5 and trying to get a daily bounce underway. Technically underway by a smidge, but need to get the 12-hour uptrend and get over 12-hour 12 EMA resistance to get some daily bounce follow through. And then we will be looking for a daily lower high. Anything below 66.5K would be one. And if we're talking about staying within this weekly tightening range, the next step for bulls is going to be securing a daily uptrend. So first got to get the daily bounce underway, then got to get the daily uptrend going. And that is that for Bitcoin. Now, before we move on to ETH, I want to talk about Bitcoin dominance, because we're seeing something we haven't seen in a good while here. If we look at Bitcoin dominance, it's been pretty similar to the Bitcoin chart. Obviously a bit of different structure, but typically when it's going up, it's been going up because Bitcoin's going up more than peers. And when it's been going down, it's been going down because Bitcoin is dropping harder than peers. But on this bounce that we have across the space, we have Bitcoin dominance going down, and that is showing us that altcoins are bouncing stronger than Bitcoin. And when you combine that information with the fact that many alts are looking for like monthly higher lows or quarterly higher lows, meanwhile Bitcoin's still sideways at the highs, that sets the scenario that if we continue to see Bitcoin dominance drop, that could be the altcoins getting monthly higher lows, shaping on up and moving up more than Bitcoin. And, you know, that's the type of framework, not saying that like it's the beginning of the alt season or whatever, but as we've been saying on these streams, and again, when I say we, I mean me and all of my personalities, you got to lose the 2-week 12 EMA as step one if we're going to be talking about any alt season or something like that. So we're coming back down into it. Is it just going to be another hold and we bounce back up and Bitcoin remains dominant in the space? Or are we going to be able to see some type of structural change on Bitcoin dominance and potentially have the alts start to lead the way? And remember, from the last stream when we were looking for that Bitcoin bounce, one of the things that had us confident that a bounce was likely coming sooner than later was that alts were holding on way better. than Bitcoin. And you like to see that. If people are comfortable putting capital into the higher risk spaces or places in the space, then that bodes well for the space. If you don't have confidence in a space, people are not going to be buying shit coins and stuff like that. They're going to throw them away. But when you've got people buying all these crap coins, then you know that there's still confidence in the space, which doesn't take a rocket scientist to come to that conclusion. We got Bitcoin just healthy sideways up at all-time highs, but always looking for clues in the space. Even if you're not trading the alts, you want to be watching the alts and seeing what are they telling us about the underlying strength or weakness within the space. So back to Bitcoin dominance, we got a daily downtrend to be our guide here at this point, and we'll continue to look and see if we continue to drop. Is that altcoins bouncing more than Bitcoin, or is it Bitcoin setting a daily lower high and then Bitcoin pulls back more than the altcoins? And then if we hold 2-week 12 EMA, is that Bitcoin leading the way to the upside now and the alts taking a backseat, or is it the alts consolidating harder than Bitcoin? So time will tell. The ideal scenario for bulls would be have Bitcoin go sideways on the weekly time frame through the summer, have Bitcoin dominance lose 2-week 12 EMA, and have rotation through the alts and just do the full blown alt rotation game. That's a crypto trader's dream. So we'll see if we get that shaping up. That's the ideal scenario. Don't always get the ideal scenario, but it's good to identify what it is so that we can know if it's here. Moving on to ETH. So ETH trying to shape up a weekly higher low. Anything over 28.14 would be one. And daily bounce is underway. It's stronger than Bitcoin at this point. We are still going to be looking for a daily lower high compared to 36.24. And we're here testing the daily 12 EMA. So it wouldn't be shocking to see bears play some defense. And we can say if Bitcoin gets its 12-hour trend change, gets its daily bounce underway, then ETH is positioned well to potentially set up like an inverse head and shoulders and continue its bounce through these EMAs and be looking for a left shoulder head, right shoulder. And again, as I said in the intro, don't sleep on ETH now that we got a sexy little soul in the ring right now. And yeah, that's that. So looking at ETH, 12-hour uptrend, going to be using that same 12-hour for a lot of names, I reckon, because that seems to be where the clarity is right now. 15-minute, not quite 12 EMA. Let's just look at the hourly. We'll watch our hourly higher lows. We can say bulls in full control as long as 34.35 is support. If we lose that, we'll be looking for some 4-hour consolidation, a lot of room for a 4-hour higher low, and bulls want to keep this 12-hour uptrend intact. So let's look at ETH BTC. So we know we're trying to see, can ETH BTC get its first weekly uptrend in over 18 months and push over the monthly 12 EMA for the first time in that same duration. If bulls can do that and push over monthly 12 EMA, odds increase dramatically that this is a yearly bull flag. Now, I'm on log. If you go to linear, there's definitely the potential to stay within a yearly tightening range and get a lower high here compared to 88.37. But I'm a log guy, and that's a bull flag. So I feel like I always kind of refer to the log scale as like the dreamer scale and the linear scale as like the realist scale. So it's important to keep eyes on both of them. But if there's anywhere that it's worth dreaming, it's the crypto space. So I like the log scale there for sure. So we've got our weekly bounce going. We've got a daily uptrend as our guide. Fresh daily higher low is here at 54.57. And maybe got to be a bit cautious of a rising wedge. Let's look at it on a smaller time frame. If bears were to show up here now on ETH BTC, we would have to be cautious that this could be a 8-hour, 4-hour, 12-hour, daily, whatever time frame you want to look at it, rising wedge. And if that were to confirm without getting through resistance up here at 57.44, that would be a weekly lower high shaping on up. So we'll keep eyes on that. We'll let the daily uptrend be the guide. And as long as this is in a daily uptrend, then ETH maintains favor. And I would assume there's probably going to be more ETH carrots dangling here. It's been been a week or something since we got the over under was July 2nd, which is in like 5 days. So got to stay on your toes here with this. So not even going to look at LTC USD. We'll look at LTC BTC because we know nothing's changing unless we get over weekly 12 EMA. We got bulls trying to, I don't know, it's not even worth talking about until we get over weekly 12 EMA. Who is worth talking about? So let's look at RNDR and just kind of compare it to Sol and make a case for how, even though we've got fundamental news with Sol, it's still just doing the technical stuff. So we have been talking about how Sol and RNDR's tightening ranges at the highs were very similar. And you look at that, you got bulls holding support, trying to bounce. You look at Sol, does Sol have something insane going on behind the scenes? The chart doesn't really look like it. The chart doesn't really look like it. The chart looks fine, but just pointing out that TA is a great way to navigate the space. So if RNDR bulls want to stay within this tightening range, they need to get this daily trend change here. So resistance is going to be 793. They can get through that. They're up and over daily 12 EMA. We'll let the daily uptrend be the guide as we just continue to tighten on up here. And then the direction this tightening range breaks will be key for momentum, possibly into the end of the year. I mean, we could continue to tighten up here for a good bit. We could do something like that, and that could be like winter momentum based on the direction that this changes or breaks. What else we got? Let's look at Jasmy. So Jasmy, last stream we were talking about Pepe looking for the weekly higher low and how that was a good looking chart. And Pepe got the weekly higher low set. We'll go back and look at that in a moment here. But looking at Jasmy, it's decently similar. It's not a blue sky bull, but we've been riding weekly 12 EMA. We're testing weekly 12 EMA, and bulls are looking for a higher low. So what do they got to do to shape it up? We got a little daily tightening range that needs to break to the upside. If that happens, weekly higher low is set, and we'll just continue to watch weekly 12 EMA as our guide. So looking at resistances, we've got 31.71, and then key level would be 33.14. As far as support, pretty much just care about this low at 27.05. If that were lost, that would be bears starting to create room for a weekly lower high. Try for a weekly downtrend and see some monthly consolidation in a little bit more of a legitimate sense than that last round there. So to look at what we're comparing it to, Pepe, a lot of stuff wasn't looking great last stream. And the note was, if I had to buy an alt right now, I'd be all over Pepe because we got these lower lows without follow through, essentially a falling wedge into the weekly 12 EMA. And bulls put up a pretty good move since that stream on Monday. So from the low of Monday to the high of yesterday, we got 35%. That is our weekly higher low set. We do not have a daily uptrend. This is coming right off the low on the daily. So if bulls want to be confident and follow through, need a daily higher low and higher high. So after having relative strength on the move up, we got some relative weakness here today. Bears would need to take out 1209 to get that daily consolidation underway. And then we'll look and see, can we get a daily uptrend? So this is just reminded me of something to talk about with Sol. So, as we kind of evaluate, looking at the Sol chart, it's a nice move, but it's nothing spectacular. How would we know if there truly is serious underlying demand for Sol? Well, the one way we already talked about is Sol BTC. The other way would be if our backburners are hitting. So let's see, I haven't actually looked at this. Have we had any 5-minute backburner yet? We have not since the news came out. So if 5-minute oversold marks whatever higher low that would be, I guess it would probably be our 4-hour at this point if it happens at least 1 hour from now, because we already have our hourly higher low set. But if 5-minute backburner hits, that tells us that people are very interested in this still. People are very interested in this still. If 5-minute doesn't hit, we'll be watching 15-minute, perhaps aligning with 4-hour 12 EMA, something like that. That's a bread and butter setup when you get 15-minute oversold backburner with 4-hour 12 EMA. And we'll be watching that. Now, to be clear, I wouldn't call this a backburner. Backburner's after like a big breakout. Like this is a nice move, but it's not a big breakout. but that doesn't mean that we can't glean information from how something responds to oversold conditions. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. What else we got? Who's looking for monthly higher lows? FET. So FET had a nice move off of the low. It's one of our monthly higher low scouts. It's a blue sky bull. We cooled off on it after we broke that tightening range on the daily to the downside. And now we've got some relative strength, certainly relative weakness here today. And this does actually bring up the possibility after a daily trend change without follow through, that could be a quick weekly lower high. So got to be cautious of that. If we lose daily higher low support of 134.5, that would increase the odds of that. But bulls are hoping that they can keep the daily uptrend intact. And to be clear, it is a little bit of hopium after the action here today. You got a lot of green out in the space, and you got FET getting smoked. I don't know if it's something to do with the merger or whatever they've got going on, but this could very easily be a rising wedge looking for a weekly lower high. It could also be a daily head and shoulders if we retrace deeper. Have a left shoulder, head, right shoulder looking for that daily lower high. And bulls hope that it's neither of those because they'd like to see a little more weekly bounce to be confident that they can get a weekly uptrend to try to shape up a monthly higher low. So lots of volatility there regardless. I think AIOZ is another monthly higher low watch. So blue sky bull bouncing from just above monthly 12 EMA, looking for the higher low. Weekly bounce is not underway yet, and daily needs to get over daily 12 EMA to see another leg up to create room for a daily higher low and go for that trend change to get a weekly bounce underway. Let's see, anybody else I want to look at? I don't think so. What was that other name? AKRM? Yeah. What did that end up doing? Okay, so we had our tightening range there. It broke bear, and it's another 2-week tightening range. So, yet another name, just like Sol, just like RNDR, and really just like Bitcoin up at the highs. So I was just curious, and honestly looking like FET right now. Daily trend change, no follow through. Could be a quick weekly lower high, but bears would have to take out the daily uptrend if that was going to be the case. All right, let's hop into chat. Let's see. Yeah, we can take a look at WIF for Tosh K. So WIF, start zoomed out. We're looking for a monthly higher low. Anything over all-time lows would be one. Trying to shape up a weekly bounce. Anything below 408 would be the lower high. And we've now got a nice daily bounce underway. We're over that daily 12 EMA. And next step for bulls is going to be confirming a daily uptrend. So watching the higher low every daily candle pattern, as long as that is intact, the daily bounce continues. Got a 4-hour uptrend. We'll call it a 6-hour uptrend as our guide for this daily bounce in conjunction with the daily stair step. And it will be all about that trend change. So once we consolidate on the daily, inevitably, which will happen, anything over 147 would be a higher low, and we'll watch this retracement size. So say we do top out from here at this point, bulls will want to hold 182, the 0.5 retrace. If they lose that, that'll decrease the odds that they can go for a daily trend change. Let's see, James. I'm here for the cat, which hasn't been seen in a while. Deepfake. I'm sad to report, James, that the cat is not doing well. He's sick. He's been sleeping a lot. He's getting old. He's only 12, which for cats is not that old, but he's lived a intense life. He loves to fight foxes, other cats, whatever. So he's probably got like 500 fights under his belt. Like, this is a daily thing for a long time. So outdoor cats, their average lifespan is 3 to 5 years, and he's far exceeded that. Granted, he's half and half, but anyways, my little man is slowing down. We got him on some meds, try to juice him up, but yeah, he's sleeping. Appreciate you too, OG Itchy. Hello, Rachel. Let's see, Tomato. Good to see you too, man. It's been a minute since I've seen you in the streams.
What is your take on historical RSI and blue sky scenarios? I'm using it and it works out nicely, but I heard Dan say RSI doesn't matter in blue, or does not work in blue skies. It's not that RSI doesn't work in blue skies. It's that you can't treat it the same way as you would on a name that is not in blue skies. But as far as historical RSI specifically, that still certainly works in blue skies, which is why I lean on historical RSI so often, because it doesn't matter what fundamental events you have going, black dirt breakdown, blue skies, it's still just a high probability play. And actually we just had it on Chewy here today. Now it's pulled down. Let me see if I can find it in here, or y'all just have to believe me. I'm not going to waste time. But up at the highs here, I was posting in the Chart Guys chat room that Chewy hitting historical daily overbought, and it's not just daily. We had weekly as well, was up there, and that has now pulled down. And at this point, 23% off the highs. So, and this is on, a Roaring Kitty tweet or something. He tweeted a picture of a dog, and Chewy ran like bonkers on that. And I'm not salty, but I positioned myself for an absolute banger, and then I chickened out. So I shorted on this candle, just kind of feeling it. It was after one halt, and typically I like to get 3 consecutive halts if I'm going to do that. But the size of the move and what was going on, I don't know, once we got a little bit of a pullback off the top, I shorted in the upper 37s. And I was like, I'm going to hold on to this for a banger. And after we got this 1 minute downtrend without follow through and then came back up, I covered break even. So no harm, no foul. But yeah, I was looking for like a multi-month maker. And I think, as I ponder, like, why did I chicken out? Because it's not common for me to do something like that, because I originally had my stop over the high, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna stop out, break even. I was sized too big. I was sized too big, too aggressive for like the fortitude that my mind has today, apparently. So again, no harm, no foul, but stop out up there right before a 20% drop when you're in like more than half of your account is a bit of a bummer, but that's how she goes. And easily could have gone the other way, and I could have stopped out, break even, and saved myself a few percent on the account. If you're doing this every day, sometimes it's going to be like that. Let's see, for Mr. Omar, Bitcoin, 15-minute cup and handle. Let's take a peek. Yeah, you could say it's, I'm assuming this is what you're looking at. I would probably view it on the hourly. Yeah, maybe. You got the clear double top and bulls trying for a bull flag below that. So if this cup and handle-esque pattern confirms, then that's the 12-hour uptrend, daily bounce getting underway, bulls getting over 12-hour 12 EMA. If it does not, then what would that be? If it does not, then it's just another 12-hour 12 EMA rejection. We'll just keep it that simple. That's the clear line in the sand that bulls need to get up and over. And ETH is the framework for what they want to see with that. All right, let's see. Tim XD getting nuked by the Nightbot. It's because he said the word shit. Shitcoins are making all the money right now. They are, and that's the beauty of the crypto space, man. It's a trader's paradise. It's a fundamental analyst's worst nightmare. It doesn't matter what the coin is. Sometimes the less valuable it is, the more hype it can get, like Pepe, or any of these other dog with hat. I mean, come on. Yeah, Stargazer knows what's up. RSI is less meaningful in blue skies, as Dan would say, but that's with the caveat of except for historical RSI levels. And essentially what it means is, like, when I say you've got to treat it different than you would treat a name that's not in blue skies, if we have hourly RSI at 80 and we're in a monthly downtrend, we're saying, all right, we're probably looking for a daily lower high or something, and we're looking to short it. But if you're RSI 80 and you're in blue skies, you're just saying that's bulls in full control, because it's ultimately a momentum indicator. RSI is. So it's kind of counterintuitive, because we usually are playing like reversion to the mean on RSI in terms of overbought and oversold. But at the same time, it's telling you things are overbought right now. It's telling you like bulls are in absolute control. And knowing that bulls are in absolute control has two different implications. If you're in blue skies, then bulls truly are in absolute control. If you're looking for a lower high on a larger time frame, knowing that bulls are in control, you just can kind of infer that that will likely be short-lived, because the larger time frames are against the bulls. And even though we have these smaller time frame bulls in full control, it doesn't pack the same punch. But historical RSI is gangbusters for that. I feel like I had one more thing in regards to RSI and blue skies. Oh, another element of RSI that is valuable in blue skies still, though you do have to be cautious with it, obviously, is super stacks. So even if you're overbought, and we know overbought doesn't really matter in blue skies, if you have 5-minute, 15-minute, hourly, 4-hour, daily, all hit overbought at the same time, and like nicely juiced overbought at the same time, then that is has greater odds of some exhaustion there. But the whole thing is if you're playing the reversion to the mean on something out of blue skies, then you just can't overstay your welcome. It doesn't mean that you can't go for the trade, but you know darn well that you're looking for 5, 15, hourly, 4-hour, daily higher lows on all of this on a name that's trending in blue skies. So it's a bit of a masochistic way to trade, but also some people are really good at it and feeling those exhaustion moves. One of the best traders at the Chart Guys, Devin, which we have I have an interview with him and another one of the best traders here, Trend. It's called like the journey of 2 7-figure traders or something like that. And Devin is an absolute masochist, and he will short blue sky names. And it's typically super stacks that he's going for with it. But just because Devin does it, I mean, he's one in a gajillion. I mean, at one point was on the FTX top 100 leaderboard. Like, he's the real deal. So just because he can do that doesn't mean that it's advised for other people to. But I'm just saying it to bring to light that, you know, you can do whatever you want as long as you can walk the walk. Like, it's one thing to talk and put the orders in and whatnot, but you got to execute, and you've got to typically be able to handle heat if you're doing that. Like, very rarely does Devin just like get in and the trade starts like working for him. More so, he's doing that in 2024 as he's kind of modified his technique, but the bulk of his successes have been through scaling and hoping to take heat before a trade works in his favor. Let's see. I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Remember, we got a shortened trading week in the stock market next week, and we'll talk about that Monday. But 4th of July here in the US, crypto obviously trades through that. And we'll have to see, can Bitcoin get this 12-hour uptrend to get a daily bounce underway? It's not looking great right now. We're pulling back a bit further here as bears try to shape up an hourly lower high. So if they confirm an hourly downtrend, then what time frame can we look for an EQ on? I think 6-hour would be the good look for it. You could just view it on the 4-hour and kind of negate these wicks. But because of the size of the bounce, you know, maybe that's the cup and handle that we end up looking at. Maybe it ends up being a 4-hour cup and handle. Time will tell, but I would think bears would be hard pressed to just go straight down through 60.6. So either an EQ or a tight little bull flag under to try to get the daily bounce underway. And if we lose 60.6, then we're just back looking at the flush lows, and that's not a great look in general. So that is that. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Got a ton of free content on there on our YouTube channel. The Lessons and More playlist is a banger. Lots of good stuff in there. The Joey Webinars playlist is a banger. Lots of good stuff in there. That's a 4-part webinar series that is basically
basically everything you need to know to play the game. And hold on one second. We're running a giveaway. Let me pull it up here. Seems the page was not found. So, yeah, we're running a giveaway. The website page is down. I'll put the proper page in the comments of this video. And we're giving away something. All right, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all later.